common surfaces and high traffic areas in your home and workplace several times a day. Share these guidelines with others and help prevent the spread of illness and maintain a healthy environment. An ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure.
International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Welcome to this evening's edition of Today on One. I'm Maggie Forciero. In the news tonight, LPM visits disputed farm Dubeb. Side by side, lends helping hand to children living with disabilities. Local hay producer donates 100 bales to farmers in Otjadandjupa. Museum of Namibia Fashion launched. And Roundup Business on One, Comments Corner, Sports and the Weather. Now for the news in detail. Following months of questioning President Hage Geingob and Prime Minister Sarah Kukungelwa-Amadila on the circumstances surrounding the controversy of Farm Dubeb during the State of the Nation address, the LPM leadership travelled to the property to obtain first-hand information. Leston Voller has more.
They said the Prime Minister and her husband came with a lot of cars, brandishing guns, but then it was strange that they saw something making noise, like a bird or like a drone in the air. I think that must have been the helicopter of the police protecting the Prime Minister. Now, for instance, the group spokesperson, I have withheld his name for fear of him being victimized. He informed us how Master Amadila threatened them by allegedly making statements like, and I quote, "You Kwangaras must pack and go settle in Chinchapes," unquote, and that they should gather all their 50 donkeys in the crowd so that he can shoot them dead one by one. That is what the poor, scared, marginalized, weaponless
President Hage Geingob should remove his prime minister, according to the LPM deputy leader, as according to him, her name has come up in a number of dubious circumstances.
We are also calling on President Hage Geingob, if he's really concerned about accountability as part of his Harambe prosperity program, that he must dismiss Sarah Nanjila Kukungelwa-Amadila with immediate effect from cabinet. She must be kicked out because wherever she is now, everything seems to be controversial. We are asking a question: is Sarah Nanjila Kukungelwa-Amadila an enabler or a mastermind of all these crime schemes? Is it because some are allegedly claiming that she is a relative of former President Semu Njoma, that Swapo Politburo and others are protecting her? But here we are hearing her at Farm Dubeb, here at DPN through the husband, and I have been hearing stories also which needs to be unpacked at the Nekatal Dam.
Small children, the elderly, and pregnant women, according to SABEP, are denied the basic human rights of having access to potable water.
Although they could not recall or make out what the Prime Minister was fuming about when she was given a letter written by the late Master Friedrich, asking the government to allow the Haitian people to remain on the farm and that it be used to resettle them, she was allegedly held saying, this farm problem. You see, the old illiterate people, they have the possession of the letter that the late Friedrich, the German, gave to them. So now he said in that letter that since his father, great-grandfather, came there post-genocide. You see, if you look at the history, and I've taken pictures of myself on the tombstones of these Germans, is that their firstborns were born there in 1909, 1911. That was after the genocide of the 1908. These people immediately grabbed the farm. So now their children were born at that farm. But since they have been living with the Haitian, and Haitian San are actually amongst the only San group that is totally dispossessed of the land. If you look at the Khoi and the others, they are in Boabwata National Park. Some have been given by the South African regime what they called their homeland, Bushman land. But the Haitian centrally, because they were having a large tract of land in Etosha Park, were completely dispossessed from that. Of utmost disgust and arrogance is the fact that these marginalized people cannot use the water rights across from the other occupied camp by government and armadillas, and that therefore as a result of that they continue to scavenge for water.
The Landless People's Movement is actively supporting the farmers who are in need of assistance.
This is my favorite gear, cause it speaks for me and all my brothers. Nivea Men Black and White Deo. With 5 times Deo action to protect you and your favorite gear from stains. Try Nivea's #1 anti-stain deodorant. Nivea Men, it starts with you.
Side by Side, a registered non-profit organization that aims to support children with disabilities and their families, is visiting families in informal settlements who have children living with a disability, providing them with food and counseling. Hendrina Canyola has this report.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
The side-by-side staff has taken their services to the communities in the informal settlements. With the COVID-19 pandemic in our midst, the center is committed to continue training parents on how to take care of their children at home, travel as little as possible, and provide the necessary support needed.
Side by Side Early Intervention Center is a center that supports children with disabilities in the community. We don't just focus on the child with a disability, but on the family as a whole, because the sustainability of a child with a disability is dependent on the family, how the child is being taken care of, and the quality of life that the child might have. So throughout COVID, the families really struggle to bring their children with disabilities to Side by Side, for the main reason that they're too afraid to get in the taxi. They don't know if their children will get COVID, and what if they do get COVID, because they are the most vulnerable. So we decided to go out into the communities to prepare food parcels and to do rehabilitation at homes with these children. When you go home and you do the rehabilitation there, you see what the child has available, and we can give them skills and we can teach them how to care for their children in their environment. So that was the idea behind it. We started 2020 in March, and we started doing the home visits. This was a great success for us because we could actually use the environment and educate the community on what these families with children with disabilities need to be assisted in the family or in the community, but also to understand what disability is, where it comes from, and how to support the family. So this year actually became stronger with the feeding schemes as the need became more. So the children that we see at homes are children that is too big for the family or for the mother to carry alone. So we get to get a taxi, they take up the whole backspace of the taxi. It's many times also hard when they have the big wheelchairs to get the wheelchairs into the taxis. So then we go to the homes, we visit the children there. We have one family that has 2 children with disabilities, so it's really hard for the mum to travel with the children.
Van Beek said that while they were doing their rounds in the community, she was surprised at how many people really needed support and assistance during these trying times.
The situation in the communities is very hard to understand because a lot of these families have lost their jobs because of COVID, so the hunger is huge. Last week we took a bucket-load. A farmer donated a lot of butternuts, and so we took a bucket-load of butternuts to the community when we did the home visit, and the community was thankful. I don't even know if you have another word for it. And so they spoke a bit about their challenges. To have a sustainable project in the community of a feeding scheme, it's hard because you have to assess the whole community. You have to assess what is the circumstances and why do they need the food. Is it because they lost their jobs? So it's really hard to do it sustainably. So for us, we focus on the families with the children with disabilities. We have to understand that being a single parent, being a mother with a child with a disability, it's hard for her to leave her child with friends and with family because the community doesn't understand disability. So she needs to work, but she can't because she needs to take care of a child with a disability. And so the poverty in that homes are much worse than it is in any other home where both of the parents can work. So the support that we render there is to uplift the mother, to give her hope, to encourage her, and to take care of herself so that she can be a good carer.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Great combo deal from Choppies! Choppies, great value for your money.
What's up, world? This is Shay, the goddess of the airwaves, on 99 FM, Monday to Friday, serving you breakfast on the ignition between 6 and 9. We brought you to be inspired, taking you to master your destiny. Now it's time to do the work.
Just show up.
Put on your work boots and do the time.
Make it, and then make it better.
Hello, world. It's your boy Script here on The Kingdom, where we're reminding you every single day.
Get up. You've got this. Start where you are.
Hey, this is your girl Treza on Hitful on 99 FM, letting you know it's okay.
Try. Make mistakes.
I am Sibo, and I'm going to be with you for quite a while. Thank you so much for joining us here on your inspiration station, where we let you know
there's no easy money, there's no easy job, there's no easy life.
99 FM. Do the work.
A local hay producer recently donated 30,000 Namibia dollars worth of hay to the office of the Otjozondjupa governor, which will be distributed to farmers experiencing drought. Isai Sipunga has more.
Before losing hundreds of thousands in damages due to an unsuspecting fire, John Nalushia, the manager and founder of Nalu 4 Grass Project, on Wednesday prepared 100 bales of hay and handed it over to the office of the Otjozondjupa governor.
I see there's a need because currently now people are purchasing food from, especially from South Africa within SADC. So I see when I make a research, Namibia, we don't need to purchase fodder from outside. So while we have some regions that always have receiving good rain, so our grass is one of the grass that are recommended in the whole world in terms of meat production. So I come up with this idea to harvest manual because we also have much bush, so you can't afford to cut the bush and harvest grass, but with manual you can go through bush and harvest the grass, then you bale it manually. It's low cost economy-wise.
Although the country received good rains during the last rainy season, it is not certain whether or not the next season will be as good, says Okahanya constituency councillor Bethwell Chavionja, who received the donation on behalf of the governor.
It's a good idea. Keep it up. Sometimes we don't use what we think we have to use, because I have seen now you are cultivating the grass, at least. It's not going to waste because of the last season that we had a very good rain. So thank you very much. Keep up the good work and support whoever you can support. And in the meantime, I believe they said the more you give, the more you receive. So this time your business might grow, others might come on board. And we'll be asking also maybe the community just to support them, because they are asking for a bowl of grass $50. So since we are using media, so we'll be asking the community just to support these novel ideas. People who think that we cannot just sit idly, let's go and do something. So we'll be asking the community that we might not need the grass now, but we don't know whether we are going to receive sufficient rain. So support the gentleman.
On Friday afternoon, things took a turn for the worse when an unsuspecting fire reportedly came from the Brakwater area and destroyed 800 bales of hay meant to be donated to farmers in the Dordabes area. The fire allegedly also destroyed a baler maker, a truck, and the workers' personal belongings.
The Museums Association of Namibia, in collaboration with UNESCO, Carter Henkel Foundation, Berlin Ethnographic Museum, Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture, and the University of Namibia have launched the country's first virtual museum of Namibia fashion. Selma Tapopi has this report.
The association at the launch remarked that documented changes in clothing will contribute to the preservation of culture, adding that the virtual museum will enable visitors to view items, interact, as well as submit photographs for display.
This remains, and it reminds me also of a time that I encountered in Ondelela cloth while visiting Finland in Helsinki. I visited a missionary museum and I actually saw for the first time how Ondelela used to look like. And I actually could have this vivid memory of how Ondelela has actually transitioned through time from a beige cloth with thin stripes to a now contemporary Ondelela that is in shocking pink. And these visuals are very, very strong for us creators to remain relevant and also remain creative. At the same time, I was also encountered with the fact that as creatives in Africa, we are unable to access a lot of our cultural objects and items that are now being housed in different museums in Europe and the West.
UNESCO Namibia at the launch revealed that 90% of museums around the world have had to close as part of measures to combat COVID-19. However, Namibia is amongst 10 countries in Africa that has managed to stay connected to its audience using online platform initiatives.
Ladies and gentlemen, the idea of the Virtual Museum of Namibia Fashion is a result of one of the recommendations of the Resilient Namibia online debate organized by UNESCO in 2020. These debates were organized as a rapid assessment of the COVID-19 pandemic with the theme COVID-19 pandemic, impact on Namibia's cultural and creative industries. Different players in the culture and creative industry came together to share their experiences on the impact of the pandemic on the sector and on finding ways on how to cultivate and maintain resilience despite the drastic impact of the pandemic on the sector. Here again, I would like to congratulate the Museum Association of Namibia for moving forward to develop the first virtual museum of its kind in Namibia.
The Fashion Council of Namibia encouraged advocacy for the museum and the importance of preserving artifacts, adding that the virtual museum will serve as an outlook for fashion students and enthusiasts, researchers and tourists for fashion trends in Namibia.
It will provide an opportunity for visitors to view historical items of clothing and accessories, as well as contemporary designs inspired by Namibia's rich history and cultural diversity. The website will also provide information on the clothes and fashion items that were used in ancient times, as well as portray the lifestyle of people in earlier times. It will be a one-stop with endless possibilities. Fashion lovers and enthusiasts will also play a crucial role of getting more involved by submitting items for possible display in the virtual museum.
Galleries in both the virtual and physical museum will showcase bead and shells, hair and headdresses, leather and animal skin processing, metal accessories, textiles, the People's Gallery, and Deep Roots New Fashion. The Physical Museum of Namibian Fashion will be based in Otjiwarongo.
Stay true to who you are and stay true to Namibia Sounds. Starting September 4th at 7 p.m., Valentine's and 99 FM bring you the True Music Sessions, a back-to-back playlist of our nation's finest artists brought to you by the finest blended Scotch whiskey, Valentine's. Stay true. There's no wrong way.
You've got to be anything, you should be everything. Strength provider, the architect of every ring. Experience Peniel, see the face of God and live.
I pray to God for my enemy. Why you lady, why you baby, wanna do? Insta baby, Insta baby. Why you lying? Sick, what your mama gave ya. Everybody move, what your mama gave ya. Everybody sick, what your mama gave ya. Everybody move, yeah, lost, fuck.
You are now watching the V10 Countdown.
In other leading stories, the application of Mobile Telecommunications Limited for its primary listing on the main board of the Namibian Stock Exchange has been approved by the NSX, and the prospectus was registered by the Registrar of Companies on 19 August 2021 in terms of Section 155 of the Companies Act, Act number 28 of 2004. This is the largest proposed listing by a Namibian company since the establishment of the NSX. 49% of the ordinary shares in MTC will be made available to the general public during the public offer, with Namibia Post and Telecommunications Holding Limited retaining a minimum of 51% of MTC Post listing. It is anticipated that the prospectus will open on 20 September 2021 and that MTC will be listed before the end of November this year. The listing will provide an opportunity for all MTC customers, staff, stakeholders and the public in general to acquire MTC shares and participate in the ownership of MTC. In the event that the public offer is oversubscribed, the order of the allocation process will first be to previously disadvantaged Namibians, then to MTC staff and customers, followed by Namibian natural persons and corporates, and finally Namibian institutions, SADC and international investors. And the Ministry of Labour, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation has appointed a wages commission to investigate, report and make recommendations to the Minister on a proposed national minimum wage which will apply to all employees except to related categories of employees specifically accepted by the Minister in a wage order and on related supplementary minimum conditions of employment. The three upcoming activities of the Commission are public hearings on the 6th of September 2021 in Otjiwarongo, 7th of September in Swakopmund, and a final by invitation stakeholder engagement session on the 10th of September in Windhoek. The purpose of the public hearings is to afford individuals, employees, employers, trade unions and employers' organizations the opportunity to make oral representations regarding matters set out in the terms of reference of the Commission. The stakeholder engagement, on the other hand, is to afford key invited stakeholders an opportunity to make final representations and for the Commission to clarify matters emanating from written and oral representations requiring further clarifications. The engagement is furthermore aimed at filling gaps from both oral and written representations received thus far with the view of concretizing the findings and recommendations of the Commission.
Why do we do it? Cover up, tone down, hide, instead of choosing boldness. Celebrate the skin you're in with Nivea Rich Nourishing. Our triple layered care of deep moisture serum, natural almond oil, and vitamin E enriches your skin for 48 hours. It's time to show off your best skin. Choose to wear your skin with pride every time with Nivea Rich Nourishing.
Joseph Shifeli is standing by for today's edition of Business on One and Economic Indicators.
Welcome to this evening's edition of Business on One. I'm your host, Joseph Shifeni. From the $4.9 billion Windhoek Council budget for the 2021-2022 financial year, $1.5 billion will go to the salaries, wages and allowances of municipal employees. The head administrator said keeping the wage bill to just 35% was a daunting task as they prepared to look into assessing the performances of the workforce. The approved City of Windhoek operational budget includes $730 million for the salaries of 1,900 employees, $266 million for housing, $147 million for medical aid, $137 million for pension, and $6 million on uniforms.
We've managed to limit the wage bill to about 35% of our operational expenditure. It may go up to 40%, but we have managed to limit it to about 35%. Extremely very difficult because the city has expanded. You know, it includes Groothout now. In Africa, by size, land size, I'm told that we are actually the biggest, not by population, by land mass or size. We are actually the biggest. So we've got a wider and bigger area to cover. We are recovering well in terms of debt out there, but COVID has impacted very seriously what we try to do in the city.
Mayumbelo was asked about the mayor's $50,000 entertainment allowance, which he described as a small amount of money. He also said reducing the wage bill would include shedding jobs, which is not an option at the moment for the city, as it is already understaffed.
Entertainment allowance that you are concerned about, really those are small amounts of money. They cannot balance the budget. I'm not here defending entertainment allowance, but I believe we can all just be logical and understand that those are small amounts. They are amounts spent on the people we network with. So even if you see that the CEO or the mayor has got entertainment allowance, he's not spending it on himself. He spends it on the people he's meeting with to clarify certain things, as you do in networks. So, but those are small amounts. Even if you take them away, we still not balance the budget. The wage bill, I did not say the wage bill is high because of product. What I actually intend to say is, we're actually just maintaining the wage bill. The only way it can come down now is if we go and fire officials now. Because otherwise it's been around that figure in the last financial year. What I'm trying to say is that Windhoek has expanded. Naturally, for us to deliver at the level that we need to deliver, there are two things we must do. One is to ensure that the current staff are actually performing, so that the salary they are getting are justified. Even with that, there's clearly already a need to increase the staff.
Finance and Customer Strategic Executive Jenny Komali said the city is assessing the performance of employees as part of the new 5-year strategic plan to be introduced next year.
Our focus is really towards sustainable financial management. We've spoken about our salary bill, also around 1.5 billion. What we're doing in this area is that we've commissioned a work study so that we can really look at the productivity of our staff, but also are we correctly capacitated for our strategy. Our current strategy is coming to an end in 2022. And that is one of the things that we will be focusing early next year, how to craft the new strategy for the next 5 years. But not only to craft the strategy for the next 5 years, but how are we also going to fund that strategy?
The city engages stakeholders such as the Namibia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Regional Council and Ratepayers Association for input on the needs of residents and businesses. Thank you for watching. Join me again tomorrow and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages.
Stay true to who you are and stay true to Namibia Sounds. Starting September 4th at 7 p.m., Valentine's and 99 FM bring you the True Music Sessions, a back-to-back playlist of our nation's finest artists, brought to you by the finest blended Scotch whiskey, Valentine's. Stay true. There's no wrong way.
Are you a CMS member? With HospiCash 100, you can get up to 100,000 Namibian dollars cover with a 30,000 limit per event from as little as 100 Namibian dollars a month. We understand that being in hospital can be stressful. That is why with HospiCash 100, you can cover your non-medical expenses by receiving cash payouts when you are in hospital, so you can recover stress-free. Interested? SMS your name and HospiCash to 555 and we will call you back.
Now we look at Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from our social media pages. The group of land grabbers in the Tobias Hanyeko constituency has moved to a soccer field close to where law enforcement demolished the shacks they have erected and warned them to avoid occupying the surface. They say although the police threatened to come back and hurt them and take their belongings, there is nothing they can do as they have nowhere to go. They threaten to take their lives and that of their children if the government does not intervene. Sallow says the government is heartless. Nambahu stated that the poor people are only important during election time. While Inia says it's very painful. And Henny Sabib, the Landless People's Movement deputy leader, has called on former Presidents Sam Nujoma and Hifikepunye Pohamba to restore excess land to indigenous people living in poverty. Werner says the LPM should buy land and vote for the people instead of pointing fingers. While Kutava noted that Farm Etunda contributes to the country's economy, noting that there is nothing wrong for a head of state to acquire land. That is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast only on Today on One.
The time to unite against COVID-19 is now. Daily statistics have turned into names. Names of people we know, our parents, siblings, grandparents, cousins, neighbors, and fellow countrymen. Help stop COVID-19 in Namibia by getting yourself vaccinated. Vaccines help your body learn how to fight the virus well before an infection. This greatly increases your chances of not falling seriously ill when infected with COVID-19. So, get vaccinated, help kick COVID-19 out of Namibia. Please note, maximum protection from the vaccine is reached 2 to 3 weeks after full vaccination. Hence, the importance to get your second dose. Brought to you by the Nationhood and National Pride Program in partnership with the Ministry of Health and Social Services.
Time now for today's sports update with Taro Musiandaka.
Welcome to Sports on One. I'm Chairo Musiandaka. Namibia's ladies football champions Tura Magic Ladies FC had their training session in the country ahead of their inaugural COSAFA Women's Champions League qualifier tournament that will take place in South Africa from the 26th of August up to the 4th of September. Let's cross over to Castro Lumbu on more on this story.
Club captain Anna Shikusho and goalkeeper Agnes Kaudu described the tournament as a big opportunity as it will provide exposure to the club and the players.
First and foremost, I will say it's a big opportunity for most of the girls because this is a big opportunity basically for local players because this was most of the girls' dream to play maybe professional. We don't know who is watching. So I think this is a big thing for them. I would say this, the spirit is positive. You understand? The girls are looking forward, since we are also in a good group. So I think we are all good. Positive vibes. We motivate each other. The girls are just looking out like where the opportunities, we have to grab it.
The opportunity is big. It's a big thing for us because it's everybody's dream, especially for the girls. Like since South Africa started with the professional football, so we would also want some of our girls, 3 or 4 girls, to go play abroad like the boys. And I think every girl right now wants to give them all their all. So I think it's a big opportunity for all of us, actually. It's because we don't know who's watching, because there might be scouts and stuff, so we're going to give the country and make the country and the club happy on our performance on the pitch.
The Magicians, however, are drawn in Group B, where they will face Zimbabwean Super League champions Black Rhino Queens and Zambia's Green Buffaloes. Today on One Sports Desk spoke to Timo Chongarero, who was brought in to take charge of the Magicians during the competition, with Shama Gure taking the assistant job. Chongarero updated Sports on One on his team's preparation ahead of its encounter against the Black Rhino Queens.
We did not have enough preparation, so the preparation was not adequate because we only had a week. So that really was a challenge in its own, because you can't get players fit within a week. So we had to put some ideas together and see how we can, bring the best out of the players in terms of the ideas that we brought to the table, and to see how best they can implement it. I think that was the key focus of this whole week and a half that we were in training. And then obviously we know most of the players since the time they joined the team, back in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, on 2014 thereabout. So we know them, we know their capabilities, where we just have to work on a little bit more the ideas that we have to focus them. We added some players as well from Girls and Goals, just to provide them with a platform, because these are young players. You never know who's watching in football. So it's just to provide them with an opportunity to showcase their talents, because it's not only a Tura Magic project, it's a Namibian project. And we believe if we can add value to somebody else's life, a Tura Magic, that's what we believe in. So give everybody a chance, give other people a chance as well that have the talent to come out, so that the world out there can see that there is talent in Namibia. The main focus for us for this competition is obviously to give a good account of ourselves. And at Tura Magic, we always believe in the power of the impossible. So we will do our best, we will give our utmost, and obviously also to network a lot for benefit of Namibian football and the girl child in Namibia. We had several setbacks in terms of our players that got injured. You would also understand it has been a while since they played, so you can't really push much because the body also resists. So maybe that's really caused it, because also there had been a while and we have been a week that we had to practice. We tried, like I said, several ideas, and this might be that we overloaded a bit, but in football you overload, you bring down the level as well, so that you can try and get the best out of it. But all in all, it's not too severe. But there have been here and there some injuries. Medic did some wonderful work in terms of that as he worked around the clock. We are not going to participate, I must mention. We are going to compete, to give our all, and to really give the best what these girls have to offer. Like I said, in football, you never know who's watching. Even CAF has come out to say that clubs that are going to qualify for the Champions League need to have women football clubs in the academies. So these become crucial now. So for us as Tura Magic, we are happy to be on the forefront of this within Namibia, and we hope the other clubs come on board to really help improve the game.
Namibia's Tura Magic Ladies FC will be joined by Botswana's Double Action Ladies, Eswatini's Manzini Wanderers, Lesotho's Lesotho Defence Force, South Africa's Mamelodi Sundowns Ladies, Zambia's Green Buffaloes, and Zimbabwe's Black Rhino Queens. The 7 teams will get a chance to qualify and represent the COSAFA football region in the CAF Champions League finals in Cairo.
That's all we have time for you today. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow, as well as follow us on our social media pages. Back to you, Maggie.
Thanks a lot, Chiro. Let's have a look at the weather forecast.
First, an advisory from the Windhoek Met office. Windy and cold weather is expected from Thursday in the southern regions, spreading to the Khomas and Omaheke regions over the weekend. It will be windy over the interior. The interior will be partly cloudy and warm to hot with a few showers, but isolated showers and thunder showers in the southeast. The coast will be partly cloudy and mild to cold with a few showers over the central coast. Wind will be light northwesterly to fresh southerly. Now let's have a look at the minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
We have come to the end of tonight's edition of Today on 1. Catch a repeat at 9:30 and the Omnibus Saturdays from 9 to 2. From me, Maggie Forciero, and the rest of the team, till next time, it's good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Namibia Gypsum Factory at Arandis in the Irongo region was established in 2018 with funding of 21 million Namibian dollars from the Government Institutions Pension Fund, GIPF. Once operational, the factory will amongst others manufacture drywall and ceiling boards. The company's managing director, Hansi de Tweed, said they plan to employ nearly 120 people from the town of Arandis and the region at large, with a particular focus on employing women.
And we will do our social responsibility to the town. We will look after that. Although it's the percentage of the boards that we distribute in Namibia sounds small, that is about the market that we have in Namibia. And we do value addition to raw products that we take out of the ground, turn it or work it around, and then we do a value added things on the board then, and I think that will be a great impact.
So clearly that assists the whole town and the development of the town, and we really need to be thankful to GIPF and wholeheartedly support what they do within the country. Because firstly, this factory, why I say nationally we should realize its importance, it's the only one of its kind in the SADC, firstly, and it actually adds value to a raw product.
Arandis Town Council Chief Executive Officer Stanley Norris said the business occupies approximately 12,000 square meters and the factory itself is close to 6,000 square meters.
It means that we'll have more currency coming into the town that's being spent in the town and will clearly uplift the economy of the town, which is much needed at this time, specifically thinking about the pandemic as well.
De Tweed explained that they saw a big void in the production of ceiling boards and seized on the idea for the factory because there is a gypsum mine about 60 kilometers from Arandis. He added that currently a very small amount of raw gypsum is used in the manufacturing of cement and the market price is very low. However, the company will be adding value to the raw product by manufacturing products such as drywall. De Tweed said the biggest gypsum market is currently South Africa, where a large percentage of the Namibia Gypsum Factory's products will be exported to, in addition to the rest of Southern African Development Community, where mostly chemical gypsum products are currently used as opposed to the natural kind which will be produced locally.
The raw gypsum that you just take out of the ground, the market on that at this stage isn't that big, because it's normally used in manufacture of cement in very small quantities. So the market price on gypsum isn't high. But as soon as you do a value addition, like making boards out of that, the revenue produced out of that is much higher than using a raw product and trying to export the raw gypsum out of the country. At this stage, all boards that's been used in Namibia is imported. So we don't have any, all the boards are imported, either from China or South Africa or wherever. Now we got our own board, proudly Namibian, which we can distribute to our people, to our own building companies or DIY shops. And of course we export, and that brings a lot of revenue, not only to us but to the country as well.
Gypsum products used in Namibia are also imported, and the factory hopes to fill that gap. Qualified artisan Albertina Mukwati, who is the team leader, said she is confident that the plant will change the lives of many people in Arandis.
As you can see, this plant will be employing almost 90% of ladies, from which I will be leading once we start with the production. So I'm really glad that there is something like this in Namibia. This is the first kind of, it's a first kind of the plant, a gypsum plant in Namibia. It's not going to be easy when we are starting up, but from the artisan's view, because I'm also a qualified artisan in control and instrumentation, I will say we will have a lot of safety aspects that we need to consider in this plant. So at the moment I'm busy drafting some of the safety documents which will assist us during the initial commissioning of the plant. And at the end of the day, I will be one of the first customers to buy the boards, because I'm just busy building my house. And I don't think that I want to use the imported product while we have the market for our own product.
Another employee subcontracted to the plant as a fitter, Richard Naubeb, urged the youth in Arandis to seek employment in other sectors besides mining.
For me, it's a great platform, this, because I'm actually born and bred in Arandis. I'm a resident of Arandis, so it's actually creating employment for us. And most of the guys you see around here, they're also from Arandis, so we're young. So actually the way they're creating employment, they're improving our standards of living as well, which is actually a great thing. So towards Namibia, this is also a great platform, because we're creating gypsum platforms here, so which are also fire resistant. So basically we don't have to go elsewhere to go find our platforms. Now we can create them ourselves. So it's actually creating jobs for everybody in Namibia as well. Actually, the main focus in Arandis is that everybody's more focused on the mine sector. So basically, for us as Arandis residents, as youngsters from Arandis, it's actually hard to find a job. So I would advise them to get their mindset off of the mines first and start looking for jobs, and also start creating jobs themselves. So, but I'm telling you, this is a great platform for all of us.
COVID-19 affects people very differently. Many people show no symptoms at all, but some are hospitalized for weeks. So what does the disease do to your body? The coronavirus enters through the mouth, nose or eyes. It then usually attaches itself to cells lining the nose, throat, airways or lungs. It can turn these cells into factories that multiply and spread the virus. For the majority, a fever, cough and breathlessness are as bad as it gets. But the virus can damage the small blood vessels lining the lungs and initiate clotting. The alveoli are tiny air sacs where oxygen goes into the blood. If they become inflamed, it can trigger pneumonia. Seriously ill patients need to be given oxygen as the lungs fill with fluid and debris.
I legit couldn't breathe.
My oxygen meter was measuring under 88% oxygen levels, which is very dangerous. And the only time I ever thought my life was in danger was at that point.
COVID-19 doesn't just affect the lungs. It can also disrupt the immune system, which is used by the body to fight illnesses. Cytokines are part of the immune system that find and signal infections. For some people with severe COVID-19, this system can go into overdrive. If too many cytokines build up, it can cause an overreaction that damages healthy cells. This is called a cytokine storm for the most severe cases. COVID-19 can lead to seizures or even a coma. It can also cause brain problems that lead to strokes. The immune system overreacting can cause clots that stop the blood supply to parts of the brain. Brain inflammation, psychosis, and dementia-like symptoms can also affect seriously ill patients. The average length of the illness is 14 days, but many people have symptoms for much longer. Breathing problems and post-viral fatigue last for months in some cases.
I cannot walk for long simply because I will feel a little bit short of breath and I feel the need to sit down. And that's something that has never happened to me before.
Some of the people who are most likely to develop severe symptoms are older adults and those with underlying health conditions. It's not fully known how anyone will react to COVID-19 until they get it. So it's important for everyone to follow health guidance. What precautions are you taking to stay safe?
Hi beautiful souls, this is Nikita Winkler and I am here to share easy tools for stretching that you can do just about anywhere. This is a demonstration, so what's most important is that you take the time in each position that your body needs to release its tension. In this session, we will stretch the hips. What you'll need are yoga blocks or books, thick books, or pillows, especially if you have tight hips. You can do this on a mat, on the floor, on a blanket, or even in your bed. Let's get started. So we're going to start on the floor with the soles of our feet together. I'm going to grab around the feet. This is a butterfly position. So in order to warm up the hips, I'm just going to flap the butterfly wings. And again, take your time. I'm going to lean forward, and here, again, if the hips are too tight, you can place your blocks, books, or pillows underneath. You might even feel a stretch in the back here. From this position, I'm going to take one arm right behind me, not too far from my body. The other arm, inhale, exhale, press the hip open. And come back to center. Change. One arm right behind me to lengthen the spine, the other hand on the knee. Inhale, exhale, press the hip open and back to center. Now we're going to lie down on the floor. And first, before I get started, I have to make sure that my body, my spine is in alignment. I'm going to just open up the neck area. And you can spend as much time as you need here, allowing the force of gravity to weigh on the legs to open up the hips. You can place your blocks, books, or pillows underneath the knees. And gradually, you can take the feet even further down and spend enough time in each position. From here, we're going to go into an internal hip rotation. I'm going to spread my feet to the side, lean the knees inwards. If you have a little bit more flexibility, you don't really feel the stretch, just take your feet even further apart to deepen this internal rotation stretch in your hips. From here, I'm just going to place my feet And without repositioning the feet, I'm going to take my arms to the side, and then I'm just going to rock my legs side to side. Keeping the upper body facing up. Shoulders down. And then I'm going to stop on one side, take the lower leg over the upper to add weight, to deepen the stretch. Release the leg and switch. Other side, lower over the upper. And back to center. Last part, I'm going to spread my legs as wide open as I can, and I'm going to just row the boat. So what's important here is that the knees don't lift off the floor. Make sure you row both sides. Keep the knees and both bum cheeks on the floor. Alternatively, you can just lean forward. You can hang out on the pillow. Take your time on the blocks or on your books. And that is it. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to breathe into your stretches, and happy stretching.